We have another update, and this one's actually breaking news. Is intelligence, U.S. intelligence now says that an ISIS bomb brought down Russian passenger plane over the weekend, killing all 224 passengers on board, most likely. Now, with the Islamic State, ISIS, ISIL, moderate rebels, or whatever the United States intelligence or government or mainstream media is calling terrorists these days, they're insisting it brought down. They are insisting that they brought down the passenger plane, killing all 224 aboard. Earlier, I reported on an earlier report on this that the United Kingdom today halted all their flights from Egypt's Sinai region or Sinai Peninsula, and is saying that most likely as an explosive device was likely on board the Russian plane. And like I mentioned on the other update, you just knew that British aviation is not going to pull, or their government is not going to pull all the planes from that area unless there's something that they know. And now it has come out that U.S. intelligence community haven't yet reached the final or formal conclusion on the cause of the plane crash, but they strongly believe it was. Right now, Russia is not saying much more on their side of things as they continue to investigate the situation. So it's looking a lot more. I'm at about 99% sure, based on the facts that I've seen so far. Like I reported in the last report, metal fragments and pieces being found in the bodies of the passengers near the rear of the plane, but not near the middle or the front, and only dismemberment and burns to those passengers was found. It would suggest that an explosion happened near the reverse of the plane. The tail wing being found 5 kilometers away. The British flights being banned. ISIS claiming that they actually did it, and the Islamic State claiming that they did it. So all of those kind of things are adding up. Plus the fact that several months ago, British Airlines as well as other airlines had been warned of anti-aircraft equipment seen in the area. This is 3 months ago, and to not fly below 25,000 feet. This plane was at 30,000 feet and it came down, but they're not suggesting it came down in any other way other than an explosion from onboard from a man-made device, a bomb, on the plane. And if this is true, in fact, the way it's looking to be now, strongly, this is probably the biggest terror attack, or one of the biggest terror attacks. Many planes have been going down in the last 2 years, just mysteriously. This one is being claimed, responsible. Somebody's saying that they did it since 9/11. Now, I don't know where this brings us, so I'm not going to commentate too much on that or speculate too much on that, what the retaliation of what Russia does. But there's been a lot of speak on the mainstream media now since their intelligence come out that this happens. There's a lot of speak. Well, two things. Some people ignorantly enough and not understanding that these are actual people dying on these planes are kind of like in a schoolyard saying, "Ha ha, I told you this was going to happen." And what kind of intelligence does that person have? 224 people were killed on this plane. Innocent people. Just as much as innocent people who are being killed all over Syria and Iraq, innocent civilian people are being killed and slaughtered all over the place. This wasn't directly in the war zone and it's happening, so that's where this is coming from. The other side of the fence is now calling for a lot of military officials and congressmen and congresswomen, even mainstream media analysts are suggesting that it's now obvious this is getting out of hand and ISIS can do this kind of terror, that there needs to be a collective organized strategy to eliminate ISIS completely, suggesting that Russia, the Americans, the British, everybody gets involved. Now, again, I don't want to speculate too far where that's going, if that is the case, or if that is what's being suggested, or even if that was the plan originally, folks. Because I'd hate to speculate on what that would actually mean, having massive forces, massive airstrikes. I mean, what we see now is big, But if they did something as a major push, which the two most powerful nations in the world and probably the third or fourth in Britain could do in this region, with boots on the ground, with military, with hardware, artillery, uh, infantry, and troops, and all this kind of stuff, I don't even want to suggest on this channel where I believe this potentially could be going. And maybe I'll do that on a recap of the week or something and be a little bit more open on my thoughts or the potential or possibilities which could happen with an alliance like that, and what the true real meaning to going into Syria and what this is all really coming down to. That's it for the update on the Russian passenger plane, most likely being brought down by a bomb now. Multiple sources in mainstream media are saying this, as well as Israeli newspapers, or Israeli news sites, British news sites, American news sites, Russian blog sites, and things like that that are coming out with this story now. So it is very, very, very heated up now. I imagine what's going to happen over the next 10 or 15 days or this month, but November is definitely one to remember. And so give us your thoughts on what you think is happening. Give us, even speculate if you want in the comments below of what could happen, the repercussions of this actually happening. So not only are there airstrikes happening in Syria and Iraq and other places in the Middle East, it's a full-out World War III scenario, folks. It can't be any more apparent that this is what's happening. I was talking to my colleague from the Eyes Open Network, our other journalist, and he was talking about, and we were talking about, that when do you really know that you're in World War III? And we assumed, and it's a fact, that in World War I and World II, people weren't defining it as World War. They were defining it as, war, and many countries involved, and then later on the historians labeled them world wars, and then they picked a starting point and an ending point. Well, when they do this, it's going to be a lot. It's not around this flashpoint that's going to happen here right away. I'm suggesting it's already happened years ago. Okay, and they're going to go back and say this is when it really started, and it's nowhere near November 4th, 2015. I'll tell you that. Okay. Anyway, leave your comments below. Tell us what you think. Share this video as an eye opener to other people. Like the video, and that shows us that you approve of the alternative opinion to the mainstream media. You approve of us covering these news stories for you, and it puts another nail in the coffin, if you will, to the mainstream media providing different scenarios all the time, although this story particularly didn't, because the mainstream media is covering this one as well. But different angles we can always look at, and your comments are appreciated below. Please share the video and subscribe to our YouTube channel at eyesopennetwork.com. I'll leave links below in the description so that you can source things out for yourself. Thanks. Bye-bye.